What's up, people? I was just listening to some differences between a 212 closeback cab with Celestions and the combo with Eminence speakers. The combo's got a Fender style Eminence and the Celestion style Eminence, and it sounds really good. And the closeback cab has two Celestions, a Classic Lead 80 and a V-Type. And they sound really good too. I was able to play the Marshall earlier with the 212 cabinet and flick the impedance switch on the back, or the ohm switch, and that did change the volume with the Marshall. It did not change the volume with the Tech 21 for whatever reason. The Tech 21 seems to match the ohms that you change with that selector switch. So I don't know. But yeah, it changed the volume on the Marshall, and of course now I've got it set on the lower one. Did you sell your guitars yet? I don't think I'm really trying to sell any guitars right now, man. I don't want any more, that's for sure, but I'm also not really interested in selling right now. I'm good. The last two that went to YDNA in New York, and thank goodness they did, because I don't want them. So let's see here. I put that V-Type in and took out the Classic Lead 80. So now it's a V-Type and a Classic Lead 80 in that cab. These are great, but two of those in that cab at 16 ohm each with the Marshall, it was really bright. So the V-Type did what I thought it would. and it just kind of tames some of that brightness down. So that is cool. Well, now I've got the cab that the V-Type was in, this Marshall red snakeskin. This is for their Studio Vintage Mini Plexi head. So now that this cab is empty, I think I'll put the classic lead in here and listen to classic lead in an open back, because I've only been listening to classic leads in a T12 closed back. So let's switch it up and I'll start listening to the classic lead in this cab. Again, I know that the Custom 400 was a big hit. It was a viral hit within our village. And I know that song meant something to some of you, and maybe it meant less to others of you, but thank you for the love with that song. Of course, I use Suno to produce the track, and I use ChatGPT for the lyrics, and I think it came out pretty well. That seems to have inspired a lot of new songs coming out from our little community here. Now, what I will say is that Andy's talent with AI is in his video making, because those sci-fi and fantasy YDNA short videos that he makes are absolutely hysterical and crack me up. I think his songwriting using AI leaves a little bit to be desired, but get this guy doing some fantasy vids, get him doing some sci-fi vids, it is hysterical. All right. Last night I put out a little vid saying that I don't like the Zillicab reviews of speakers. And my issue with the Zillicab reviews of speakers is that they can be really deceptive. If you listen to IRs of speakers, you will, and you pay attention for something that sounds like static garble. A lot of speakers' tone characteristic is a static garble. And then there's some that don't have the static garble. And I try to avoid that static garble as much as I can. And I've found that the Classic Lead 80 doesn't have the static garble. The A-Type doesn't have the static garble. And the V-Type doesn't have the static garble. The Vintage 30, its signature sound is the static garble. But then last night I was watching a video comparing and contrasting V-Type with Vintage 30, a video by Zillicabs, and all the static garble was coming off of the V-type as if it was the Vintage 30. And then other reviews you watch of the two speakers, it's the opposite. So I wouldn't be surprised if they forgot which track was which in that video, and were saying that the clip of the Vintage 30 was the Classic Lead 80. But yeah, that was, I think that's probably what happened. Because for them to say that the Classic Lead 80 has more of that static garble, hell no. It doesn't at all. Okie dokie, that's in. Well, you know, the YDNA, very good and woke. Make songs, put them on your channel. That's good. Let me think about this, so I'll tell you about this Tech 21 combo. It's got two speaker outs, and if you use just one of the speaker outs, the speakers in the combo will still play. You have to use both of those speaker outs into external cabs for it to disable the combo speakers. And here we have a 112 that has one speaker jack in the back. So I'm gonna play the Marshall with it. My guess is that it's going to be way too bright. No, I won't play the Marshall with it. I will play I just disabled the Fender sounding speaker in the combo, and now I'm going to listen to that Classic Lead 80. Now let's also plug in the EV12L. What's up, homie? Well, hearing one speaker in that, and then the classic lead 80 and the two cabs being away from each other and the sound kind of bouncing around, that was very nice. Cool. I'm probably gonna get some more speakers off Sweetwater. I'll have to wait until after Christmas, so they don't show up when I'm not here. But yeah, the 16 ohm. I don't want to have a couple 112 cabinets that are 8 ohm, and then a couple 112 cabinets that are 16 ohm. I gotta have some uniform fashion going on with the ohm rating. And then the 212 cab that I've got, it'd be better to have two 8 ohm speakers in that so I can get it down to 4 ohms. Yeah, okay, there's a question for you. So you got two 16 ohm speakers and a 212 cab. It's got one of those switches on the back that if it was two 8 ohm speakers, it would go between 4 and 16. So what does that give you if it's two 16 ohm? 8 and 32. Anybody out there know? There's 20 of you in the audience right now. Is it 8 and 32? Because I heard a volume difference, but it wasn't like master volume being on 1 versus master volume being on 5 or something. It was just a little difference. A little bit more power was going to it when it was on the 4 setting. But yeah, with 16 ohm, I'm thinking that's a huge difference. 8 and 32. Is that really what it is? And you guys aren't being interactive. Well, now that I've got two 16 ohm classic lead 80s and a 16 ohm V-type, I should probably buy another 16 ohm V-type and just box those speakers up and use them in a 4x12 later on, because that's a good pairing for a 4x12. You get all the clarity from the classic lead 80s, and then you just get a little EQ changed to not make it as piercing bright with the V-types. So I'll probably keep those around for future 4x12. I've got like 4 cabinets in storage. Got a bunch of 212 and 112 cabinets. When I came out here, I didn't think I was going to have nearly as much space as I do. Thought it was going to be like Tokyo style apartment, but it's not. It's big. Okay. Yeah, I should have brought everything. I've also got 2 special amps in storage. One is called the Millennium Falcon, and it is made by Carl Fusionbear in SoCal, and it is a Plexi 800 style amp where it has a switch near the tubes on the amp, on the chassis, not where the controls are, but like over by the tubes. There's a little switch, and you can switch in more gain. He described it as 2 separate circuits, a Plexi and an 800. I don't know if that's really going on. Maybe it's just some little diode clipping or something on the switch, but that's a special amp. I love that. And he doesn't want to talk about it online, but he was Jose's apprentice when he was in high school. He grew up right place, right time, knew a lot of cool people. I'd love to hear an interview with him talk about amps throughout the years. Carl Fusionbear, he's a cool guy. So I got that amp. I've also got an original first Run or whatever, the Trainer Bassmaster, or whatever type amps. Got one of those. And it's stock. It hasn't been screwed around with. These are two amps that I would like to get YDNA to upgrade. But they're in storage, so I'm just I'm stuck. So those are future projects. Knock on wood, YDNA is still going to be around by the time I get my hands on those amps. But if I do, putting those guys in the mail, and they're going to get injected with YDNA. Hey guys, you need to be interactive. You need to talk to me a little bit. Come on. There's like 10 of you in here right now, and you're not saying shit. As far as product endorsements, I would like to endorse this UA Evermore reverb. I've had the Heavenly, because when I think of reverb for hard rock, I think of a plate reverb, like a Van Halen sound. Well, I've had that for maybe a year. Love it. It's great. But that's a specific sound. This guy, this is what you get for the room and hall sounds. So I'm going to be using this more often than this. But when I need to go Van Halen mode, definitely you got to have some of the plate. So you got to have some multiple types of reverb to get a nice selection going. It's true. And then I use that Orion, which is their tape delay, and that sounds great. I could get another flavor of delay, but a little bit of tape delay smearing on the sound is really all I need. I also like the Ibanez and Maxon analog delays, like the pink one from the 80s. I like that sound as like an always on low mix delay. That's a good sound. Yeah, I think I've had the Analog Man modded one where if you hold down the foot switch, it goes out of control oscillation. That was a cool pedal. I've also had the Analog Man modded Big Boy Memory Man, and that's beautiful. That's amazing. I shouldn't have sold that, but that was at a time when, hey, whatever I bought it for, it was selling for like twice as much, 3 times as much, so I sold it. But if I would have hung on to it, now we're talking like 6 times as much, 7 times as much as what I would have bought it for back then. So yeah, Memory Mans are beautiful, but at the same time, it's not like an always on with a Marshall type pedal. It's like it's a beautiful experience, but it's not. Good morning, Riley. It's not an always on hard rocker, and that's what I want, and that's what pretty much everybody wants, is just a little dressing on the sound. Riley, I was just showing off my reverb choices, my reverb pedal choices. You want to see this? Check this out. Now, UA also makes their larger, more expensive offerings. I don't like those because they require cell phone pairing, and they don't pair to your cell phone if you have something other than an iPhone. So Riley, this is their plate reverb. It's called Heavenly. This is their room and hall. It's called Evermore. I recommend those big time, dude. You can get them for like 120 quid. Get them. They're great. In front of an amp, just put the mix lower. In the loop, turn it up. You know how this shit works. These are great. Now, it's also nice to have spring reverb. But with that said, when am I going to be using spring reverb? Yeah, they are good for the price, man. And yeah, they're just a computer program. They're totally digital, but they sound better than other ones, and they're a lot cheaper. And you don't have to do all this modifying and cell phone application stuff. They're just good out of the box, and they're easy to set up. Recommend them. Let's see. I think that's good for tonight, guys. Oh, Riley, I have a wall right here for you, man. As a fan of Y-DNA, you would never guess the brand. But I have a wah right here. This is a pretty good one. My other wah is with Y-DNA himself in New York. That other wah is a Dunlop Bonamassa. Oh, why did your mind go to Friedman? You've probably seen it before. Oh, I'm a bad boy. I've been a bad boy buying boutique amp distribution products. Well, this one has a switch, 3-position, and it goes from bassy, regular, trebly. Friedman. It's a good one. And when the Bonamassa Dunlop comes back from Y-DNA in New York, I'm going to put these side by side. And as God is my witness, I will tell you how they sound. And as much as it seems like I'm a fanboy, I don't know, of Y-DNA, if this Friedman sounds better than his wah, I'll tell you. Might not go over well with him. He might ban me from his channel. But nah. Well, Riley, hang on, because if Andy sends me the wah and it just blows this out of the water, maybe as part of the Justice for Riley movement, I'll just put this Friedman in the mail, send it to your door. What do you think about that? You could just put a different badge up here, relabel it. Well, Riley, I gotta say, man, I brought it up once before. You got to be a guest on the show. What's up, Matt? Oh, Riley, you are now a mod. So Riley says he's gonna buy his own stuff. Thank you, but Riley, you're now a mod. You could swap me. You want a Keeley compressor? This is one that I just haven't bonded with, but everybody loves them. Industry standard. I don't know, man. I've got a lot of cables. Yeah, I got a lot of cables. But yeah, Riley's currently building a 6v6 Soldano head. It's looking cool. Riley, I'm more excited about what you're doing than legacy amplification. I don't know if you caught the bridge in the song that I dropped yesterday, the custom 400. The bridge in the song is about legacy. Did you happen to hear that? Sneaky Luke. He means well, but he's rolling budget dice. How about that? Man, I bet Luke's really struggling with the custom 400 song. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Riley's not rolling budget dice. The on-off graphic on your head, that must have come off an old radio or something, man. That thing looks awesome. And 6v6, there's enough headroom there to create a great amp. EL34, or I'm sorry, EL84, no. It's not, it doesn't have the balls. It doesn't have the punch, the girth, the headroom, the power. It just doesn't. Now people like this guy, he takes those EL84s, does some sneaky EQ tricks to it to try to make it sound passable. But you know, it's polishing a you know what. Gentlemen, I've appreciated the show. Talk to you soon.